Hey guys, Sky here. Today we're doing a video that's going to go over wall climbing and wall running. It's more or less going to be the updated version of my older first video. The reason why I'm updating it is because Gorilla Tag has changed a few of the maps, so I figured it was due for an update. Uh, but yeah, let's go ahead and get straight into the video. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and get started on, we'll do wall running first. So, if you want to learn it in Forest, obviously I would say with wall running, this spot right here is probably the best spot to learn. This is more or less the wall that I learned my stuff on. But, there's another wall over there too that is just as good, but we'll go over there in a second. Right now, I'm going to focus on wall running. So, first, I'm going to start off with the simple basics of like what wall running is or whatever. Now, I know it's a little dark. Hopefully, it's not too dark, otherwise, I'm going to have to remake this. But the idea with wall running is similar to the idea with, running on the ground. It's just you got to change a few things. So for instance, this wall right here. Now I tend to send a lot of new players asking for help with it to this wall so they can get the basic of the mechanic down before they start actually trying it on, up there on the real walls and stuff like that. So the idea with wall running when you're up on a wall is obviously you're going to be wanting to push down, like on a wall, you're going to want to push down to stay on the wall. But when you want a wall run, you have to have a forward momentum while you're on the wall. So you want to push down and then behind you. So down and behind you. And it'll propel you forward. And it's basically, you just do that multiple times. So down and forward. See, I got propelled and I ran across the wall. Obviously, this is a short little spurt of running on a wall, but by doing it here, it does still give you a decent vertical that you got to practice on, but it'll help you get the mechanic of like you jump on the wall and you run across it, right? That's literally the first step that you got to get down. Once you get that first step down, then you can start applying it to the walls up there, or heck, even over here if you want. Start here and jump, and then just down and behind you. Down like this, and behind you like that. So if I want to go that way, I go down to keep myself up, and then I pull my hand back behind me. So down and behind. It's just you're doing on the wall. Well, that one was messed up. But like this, basically. That's essentially the result that you want with wall running. And obviously, practice makes perfect. So, yes, you will have to practice it. And as you practice it, you will get better at it. But also remember to take breaks from it too. Because believe it or not, I'll sit there and practice something for an hour, and I'll just notice that I'm just getting progressively worse at it. So you start feeling like you're just getting worse at it, stop, take a break, whether it's a day, whether it's an hour or two, whatever. Just take a break from it, come back to it, and try it again. Typically, when you come back the next time, you're a little bit better than you were before. Don't know why it works that way, but it just does, at least for me. But that's the basic mechanic of wall running that you need to have down. Now, the actual wall running, like where you actually want to be able to wall run a distance, right? You don't want to just wall run for like, 5 feet. You want to be able to run along the wall for a while. Some people even try to, do the entire map, So obviously you want to be able to do it for longer. Now I'd say once you get to the point to where you're easily able to do it, like, you know, right around this area here for the basic mechanic, then I suggest you come up here to stump, over here where I'm at. This little corner here, good spot to start. You can even be over here to start. One of these two little corners here, good place to start. You want to aim for jumping to about right around this area, somewhere around here. And when you jump to that area, you jump, and then you want to go forward, down and forward, down and forward, down and forward, down and forward, and then land on this branch. That's your first little mission to try to complete, where you run all the way around the wall and land somewhere else and have completely wall run. There you go. And then once you get to the point where you can do that pretty much every single time without falling or losing your grip, then I would say you can consider yourself able to do this specific spot at least. Then when you're ready to do it in reverse, it's always good to do things the opposite way once you got it one way, so that way you're more versatile. So you'd want to start, let's look at the branch here, give you a good idea. So typically for me, when I'm jumping over to that wall, I always go between this little curve here and then the last little curve right here. Usually somewhere in between here and like here when I jump to the wall. Anywhere you want to be at. You can jump to the wall from right here. You can jump to the wall from the very tip. Only problem is you got that little corner there you got to get around. That's why I typically stop at about right here, because as you can see, you're lined up with the first wall right there. And then of course you can also be over here. But idea is start here. You want to jump in this area right here, just past that little curve there that the wall does. You want to jump over to it and then run across and land on top of stump again, like so. Run, and then jump on the stump. Once you're able to do that multiple times in a row without falling, I would suggest you can consider yourself at the very least able to do it. I won't sit there and say you're like good or like the master of it. I would just say you can do it. Now to get those other things, obviously it takes a lot of practice. Eventually you'll be able to do it with one hand. Eventually you'll be able to do it quicker with one hand. Eventually with both hands. Hell, eventually you'll be able to do it backwards. But it takes practice. Alright, now that was the wall running portion. So, now as for the wall climbing portion, I know in my previous video I did that corner, but as of right now we got the castle in the way, so we'll just do this corner here, which is the next best thing. It's about the same angle here. Alright, so with wall climbing, essentially you're just going to be going straight up. And a lot of people will go straight up and then start wall running, or straight up all the way to the top and then start wall running. Like, a lot of people do that. Most people will start off just wall running immediately, just because you kind of keep your momentum when you do that, rather than going here and then back and forth, you know. Alright, so with wall climbing, essentially what you want to do is you want to put your hand on the wall and go down like this, kind of like skiing. Wow, like skiing. Essentially it's kind of like this motion, more or less. So now you can do that, right? Because that's basically what I told you to do. Put your hand up on the wall in that motion, and this should happen. right? So, obviously you got to combine it to get further up. And essentially you just want to do that on the same side. Or the other side. See? Like so. And if you didn't notice, I am moving my body in real life just a little bit to help aid in it. So like when I'm sitting there going like one side, second side, other side, when I'm sitting there doing that, in real life I'm also slightly rotating my body left, right, left, right. So I want to start here. I put my body close to my hand here, then I rotate, and then on the right side, rotate, left side, rotate, right side, and you just repeat it until you get up as high as you want to go. And this is the easiest way to do it, at least when you're first learning and stuff like that. Eventually you get to a point where you can do it with, you know, like one hand, which I messed that up, but eventually you can just go up with one hand. You can, you know, move around on the wall, stuff like that, like back and forth. But it just takes practice, playing around with things, trying different things as you're doing that stuff. It's just practice. And eventually you'll get to a point where you can reach the slippery walls just straight up all the way. And that's for the forest. So that's wall running, and that's also wall climbing. Probably the best tips I can give you first starting out, or to at least get the basics of the mechanics down better, because I feel like you can't master something unless you know the basics of it first, or at least master the basics of it first. Then you can do that. This is an update video for my old video with, you know, wall running, wall climbing, and since then the caves map has changed. And if you've seen my older video, you'll know that I went through different spots in the old version of caves that is good for learning the basic mechanic of wall running or wall climbing. But as you can see, the map is different now. And I actually haven't looked at much of the spots in this map yet. I'd say at least here in the entrance, probably, see, for wall climbing, I don't know, I don't really see anything wall climbing, but you can practice wall running in here. It's just, it will be a little more of an advanced thing. You know, I can just sit here and wall run up here and voila. But I mean, if you're just now trying to figure out the wall running, you're probably not going to be able to do that right off the bat. I mean, who knows? You might be able to. Some people learn quicker than others, but I mean, there's an example of something you could practice to try to get better. From that stone, wall run up to that that spot there. Let's see if I can find a good spot for you to actually do like wall climbing. To be honest with you, caves now looks like a better place to learn how to pinch climb. Like, there's a lot of stuff you can pinch climb. And wall run. Wall run isn't too bad in here. Just not a lot of space. But I think pinch climbing and wall running is probably where this map would be the best at. He's got that bat. Hello, bat. Alright, well, that's caves. I'd say probably caves would be better for practicing wall running more than wall climbing, which is kind of a big change from my last video. I know that the map Canyons has also changed quite a bit since my last video as well. So let's see. I mean, they still have some decent walls in here. Like, obviously they still have that one there. They got that one. They do still have the ones over here you can practice on, and of course all of these have different slopes and stuff on it. I mean, if I think anything that's mainly changed with the canyons is that it's easier to get out of the ravines than it used to be, because there's so much stuff you can use to get out. Let's see here. Yeah, there's still a decent amount of different walls and stuff like that. Definitely can work on your wall running skills in here too. This is the harder one from my last video. I can definitely tell I've gotten a lot better since I've made that video, because that was actually really easy. But yeah, there's wall running right there. Just on the outside wall, you can practice it. Just come over here to this spot, right? And then just wall run over here. Obviously it gets a little easier here because the slope isn't as bad. And then just wall run over here, like so. And if you fall, of course, there's a lot more stuff to help you get back up. If anything, it just made this map easier to practice on. Is there a good spot for wall climbing? I'm sure there is somewhere. Yeah, right here. Right here, down in this spot here. Corner of the map, entrance is over there. Corner of the map right here. I can see the curve here. It's probably dark as heck for y'all right now. I'm sorry. But go up that way using wall climbing. Although doing this at night probably isn't the best because I can't hardly see anything. Jesus. It's the updated part of the canyons. I'm sure you can find little spots to help with wall climbing. Just gotta find a little corner somewhere and stuff like that. And then of course this is really good for wall running. Alright, this is a good place to practice wall running. I mean, you can even start like way over here or something, and then just make a goal to go all the way around here, just here on this slope, because it's not quite as steep as like a straight vertical wall like there are in forest and stuff. It's got a little bit more of a slope to it, so it makes it a little bit easier. And then once you get to this part, this is the harder part, because it's more steep. And voila, I mean, you know, eventually you get to a point where you can do that every single time without issue, and eventually even do it quickly, you know. So this is the updated version of my tips and tricks with wall running and wall climbing due to the new maps. I went ahead and redid this video just to kind of give y'all some ideas of spots, or at least some kind of a tip as to where's a good spot to practice and stuff. Just like getting down the basics or sitting there and slightly improving them, you know. Alright guys, that's my video for you today. Remember, be kind to others and don't forget to help each other out. Have a good one. Peace.